Welcome to the Shine Seeker Show, the podcast where strategy and soul come together, because the best business plan in the world can't do its job if you don't believe you're worth building it. I'm your host, Katie Beth Schultz, founder of the Sunburst Strategies Co. and your Shine strategist. Every week, we're going from scattered to strategic with real conversations, real marketing strategy, and honest moments that remind you are already worthy of the shine you're seeking. Let's get into it. I am so excited you're here. Welcome to the very first episode of the Shine Seeker Show. My name is Katie Beth Schultz, and I am the founder of the Sunburst Strategies Co. So, set the scene for you. I was at a women's conference with my mom, and it was with our church, and it was all women, and worship was happening, and it was a really beautiful, powerful environment. And there came a moment during worship that night where they made a call and was like, if you don't feel worthy, I want you to come up front and be prayed over. And my mom and I were sitting in the back, and so I had a really good vantage point of the entire room. And this room of like 100 women all stood up and started just flooding the front. And not that I couldn't relate to this by any means, but I was just so stunned and taken aback. I remember seeing all these beautiful women that most of them I don't know. We haven't been going to this church terribly long, and I have a few dear friends, but most of these women I didn't know. And just to see their souls just struck with the ugliness that unworthiness is. I mean, I just began to sob. I remember looking at my mom and saying, Mommy, they all don't feel worthy. They don't feel worthy. And that was what was soul crushing to me, to understand that those women felt like they weren't good enough. I know I have. Like, speaking of this podcast, I haven't hit record because I didn't think I was ready. I didn't think I was capable. I thought everything had to be perfect before I could move forward. And that's something that even my mom tells the story a lot too. And I think I might unintentionally have gifted this trait to my daughter that my kindergarten teacher, and my daughter's about to graduate from kindergarten right now, but my kindergarten teacher told my mom at the first, parent teacher, whatever night, Katie Beth is very smart and capable, wants to help, all the things. But she wants to be the best. She wants to be the best at everything. And not only be the best, but be the best of the best. And that's great. I mean, my mom was like, oh, that's great, However, she also told my mom, and this is what we teach as well here at the Sunburst Strategies Co., is that we cannot always try to be perfect, because it's unattainable, and all that's going to do is continue to crush our soul. So the point is that it's not about not striving for excellence. That's a totally different conversation, right? And I deeply believe, and it's deeply rooted within the Sunburst Strategies Co, to strive for excellence. And we're always better, and we're always striving for growth, and we're always refining. And it's not because we're striving for perfection, though. We're striving for excellence because we're worthy. We're worthy of all the things. We're worthy of the things that we're working on. We're worthy of the things that we want and love and desire. And we've got to stop waiting for perfection, because that's not something that we were created to attain. I think waiting for perfection is what keeps us in this unworthiness space and guilt. All that being said, is I knew in that moment when I saw all those women go forward and they're like, I'm not worthy. I was like, that's what I want to talk about. That's what is underneath all of this strategy, all of this business talk, all of this marketing talk. I want to get at the heart of it, because if we don't even consider ourselves worthy with the strategy, the marketing, the this, the that, the whatever it is in our business or our life is not going to make it. And that's really where it starts. I'm all about a foundational experience, like laying the foundation, building on a strong foundation, building on the solid rock foundation instead of the foundation of sand, right? So we've got to start dealing with the unworthiness factor. So with all that being said, that unworthiness, like I said, it's probably, we're human, right? There's some version of that sitting within us at different levels. Some may be deeper than others. Some we've done the work on the unworthiness. But I do want to read this to you. I want you to stop and think about yourself, or maybe a woman that you know. She's smart. She's capable. She's been working on this business for a while. She has ideas. She has people she wants to serve, but she keeps shrinking. She keeps hesitating. She posts something and deletes it. She starts building an offer and talks herself out of it. Here's the truth. She doesn't have a strategy problem. That's not the problem in her business, right? She has this feeling of unworthiness. The strategy matters, of course, but it can't do its job on top of a foundation that says, I'm not sure I deserve this. I've seen this firsthand in the women that I worked with over the past few years in the Sunburst Strategies Co. And I've felt this myself. What woman hasn't, This isn't some strange story that none of us have experienced. This is really happening today in 2026, when we can do anything and we have all the information at the tips of our fingers. We still feel this unworthiness. So I want to talk to you about the Sunburst Strategies Co., especially with it being the first episode, and I named it what I did and what all of that means and what it has to do with this unworthiness thing that I've been talking about. It gets brighter, y'all. I promise. So I call myself and our team Shine Strategist. So we help women business owners go from scatter to strategic. But I've always known that the strategy alone isn't the whole thing, right? So even underneath that, our mission is to help women uncover the desires of their heart so that they can get back to pursuing the passions that set their soul on fire. And we just so happen to do that through business strategy and marketing strategy, right? So the name Sunburst is very intentional, very strategic, just like everything we do here at the Sunburst Strategies Co. And I keep looking at this bottle over here. I'm going to go grab it because it's a really great visual for those that are watching. So you see that the sun bursts, it all starts from the center out. Okay. And this burst happens from within. And in the center here, it is bright, it is light, it's hot, and the light bursts out from there with these rays. And even if you're far out and stretch your arms out wide, your rays are still going to touch and light up some of that darkness, right? And so that burst comes from something new. It comes from a new birth. It comes from new energy. It comes from starting something new, especially when you're first starting something. It is a burst, right? It just feels like, wow, like a lot, like it just shoots out of you. Think about like shooting stars, that kind of thing. And that's what I truly believe happens when we take the time to feel worthy and to work on ourselves or work on our business or whatever it is that we're doing and talking about. For me, I am a Christian. I don't believe in religion. I believe in relationship. I believe in Jesus Christ and God and the Holy Spirit. And with that, for me, the sun, S-U-N, and the sun, S-O-N, are one and the same. So everything that I did just describe about the sun, that is what I believe about the sun, S-O-N, as well. For me, I have Jesus Christ living within my heart and soul and spirit. And because of that, I have this supernatural light that shines out of me. And I hope it reaches and touches and lights up the darkness. And I really believe that it's been a calling to have the Sunburst Strategies Co. and to name it that and to have these meetings underneath this business that's created to help other women business owners and entrepreneurs and creatives. And I will say, just because I am a Christian doesn't mean I'm going to smack you over the head with the Bible. It's very real and it's very true to who I am and to the soul of the business as well, and why we do the things that we do. So it's also strategic because we don't do things like at random or just because that's what the trends say or things like that. I mean, we pay attention to what's going on around us in the marketing and business world, right? But we are going to do things because they're tied to a bigger goal, a bigger why, that kind of thing, and be intentional about it. We're not going to do things willy-nilly, if you will. This show exists because I don't believe, obviously, that strategy and soul are separate conversations. The best marketing plan, business strategy in the world isn't going to move you forward if you don't believe that you're worth showing up for. So What can you expect from the show? I'm sure you figured it out by now, but I will go ahead and tell you as well. Real conversations, real strategies, and honest moments. So just know that we're going to work with what we got. It is always going to be excellent, striving for excellence, and it's going to be full of sunny strategy, bright strategy. Sometimes we'll have guests on the show. Sometimes it'll just be me. But every episode is going to kind of encompass and surround and orbit, if you will, around this central idea of what is the shine that you are seeking? Because we're all seeking something brighter, right? We are creatures that were created to go towards the light. If you think about a plant, I have this big monstera plant downstairs and in front of our windows. And when I moved it, it was upstairs and it was leaning towards the light and towards the windows. And now that it's downstairs, I put it the opposite way. So it was leaning like away from the windows. And little by little, it has moved its branches to a new source of light. And that's just like us too. We're always searching for the light. So we're always going to answer the question, what's the shine that we're seeking? I do want to do a little bit of teaching. So I'm going to talk to you about worthiness in business. Okay. We talked about on a very personal, spiritual level. Now let's talk about with your business. So we're here, right? Worthiness looks like tiny decisions made differently than the average beer. And it looks like making those decisions consistently, okay? It looks like sending the email instead of sitting on it another week. It looks like posting the thing you've been drafting for 3 days now, and it's not because you don't have time, right? It's because I need the right filter, I didn't have the right thing on, or that's not the right piece of music, or that isn't right. Post it. Just post it already. I'm preaching to myself too right now. Worthiness in business looks like saying the price out loud without apologizing for it. It looks like showing up on a Wednesday when nobody liked the last 3 posts. So every month we do a monthly marketing lab. I'll hop on live for 30 minutes and I do some teaching. So today we talked about, for example, why your content isn't converting, 4 reasons why that might not be happening for you. And one person showed up. And you know what? Worthiness looks like me, Katie Beck, showing up for that one person. Because all it takes is one person, y'all. All it takes is one soul. All it takes is one woman. All it takes is one business. Right? Like, that's worth it. She was worth showing up for. You are worth showing up for, even if you're the only one there. Because, we all have to start from somewhere, right? And that's what I'm talking about. We've got to start with worthiness. What we have to say is worth getting out there. What we have to teach is worth getting out there. The people that we want to serve in the way that we want to serve them, it is worth it to make it happen, y'all. So that is why I showed up today. Opposed to that, the unworthy person, the unworthy version of Katie Beth that I have been, as I'm sure others have been. But for me, the unworthy version of Katie Beth, I was waiting for permission. This podcast, I've been waiting to do it because I was like, oh, I don't have the right background. I don't have this podcast studio situation. Oh, I don't have what I need. No, that was coming from a place of unworthiness because I was waiting for perfection. And we're not doing that. We're not doing that anymore. The worthy version of Kiva gave myself permission. So here's what I'll tell you. You don't have to have it all figured out to be worthy of building this. You don't have to have a certain number of followers or a certain amount of revenue, a certain level of polish. You were worthy of this calling before you ever sent a single email. So, I know I said I'm going to ask, what is the shine you're seeking? And I will ask it, what's the shine you're seeking? The shine you're seeking is not out there for you to earn. We can never earn that. We can never earn the shine we're seeking. It's already within you. And the work is just letting it out. Here's my first warren. This is, we call her first warren. Belle. Or you'll see her more. So I want to say, if you're listening to this and you've been sitting on something like a business idea, a launch, a post, an offer, an email, anything where you're like, I'm going to wait until I feel ready, or I'm going to wait until I feel good enough, or until some made up person or thing or situation gives you some sort of permission. But I'm going to tell you right now, you can do this. You can go forward. You can do this, and you're worthy. You're already worthy of the shine thing. So that is what this show is about. Every episode, strategy and soul together. Because you can't really have one without the other, right?